Okay.
God, thank you for recovery. Thank you for the gift of fellowship, friendship, and the beautiful beauty of all of it here today. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And today we're having a special episode of the Most High Show where I'm going to be the host. I'm Caleb. I'm a Most High media intern. And we're going to have Taylor here tell her story on the Most High Show for a special appearance today.
Ooh.
So we're going to go through the intro really quick. Welcome to the Most High Show, made by and for people in recovery, a show about recovery, spirituality, and being human. Our mission is to provide impactful, community-driven media that informs, empowers, and inspires positive change. Real people, real stories, real life. This is the Most High Show.
Woo.
All right. So, Taylor, why don't you tell us who you are? Talk a little bit about what you do for here at Most High for us.
Okay. My name is Taylor Johnson. I am the certified peer specialist for Most High Media. So I deal mostly with the curriculum and offering peer support and working with our community partners.
Okay, that's awesome. I think like a lot of people, you're kind of behind the scenes and you help out a lot with the educational platform, like you said, and people will just, like to get to know you and hear more about your story and your journey in recovery. So that's why we're having you on today as a special guest. A little bit closer. You're good.
Yeah? Is that better? Okay,
We're
cool.
also helping everyone learn more about the podcast and how to do everything. So,
Okay, exciting times.
yeah,
Okay.
exciting times. All right. So Taylor, why don't you talk a little bit about your early life growing up in Tennessee? Because you're actually from there. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and what your family life was and growing up there in Tennessee before you got to Georgia?
Okay. I am the only child of a single mother. Um, I had really great grandparents. After they died, my mother went into active addiction, and I moved out when I was about 15, 16 years old. Got a job, paid my own bills, and just pretty much took care of myself. I didn't really have any family or support. Did not have a safety net. It was either do or die. So I did. I took myself out of a toxic situation because at the time it seemed like it was the best option for me. I got into an extremely abusive relationship that lasted until I was about 18 years old. Um, but I was really young and naive, and I didn't know any better. I just thought that's what it was supposed to be like. And when I turned 18, I left the guy, and I had no idea what I was doing, so I went back to my mother's house um, and lived with her for a little while. Um, let's see. And then somewhere in between there, while I was living there, I met the father of my children. I moved in with him, had my first daughter, Pippa. Um, the father of my children was a drug addict, and I did not know it at the time. At this point in my life, I'd smoked some weed, but I didn't even go to bars or anything. Like, I was staunchly against it because my mother was, my mother.
Right.
I did not know that I didn't know a lot of things about Drew. I caught him smoking meth in my laundry room, like shortly after the birth of my first daughter. And he did that for a while. And then yeah, he did that for a while, and then I had my second daughter.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like where it all started, like where I guess your addiction kind of took hold in your life, I guess you could say. Is that right?
Yeah, I actually didn't, I did Adderall for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was prescribed Adderall, but I wasn't taking it the way that I should have been. Um, and I caught him smoking meth in my laundry room again, and I guess he got tired of hearing me cuss him out about it because he tried to convince me that it was no different than the Adderall that I was taking.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. And so that's, I guess, what led you down the path to eventually trying meth after that? Like when he kept talking about,
Yeah.
how the Adderall was the same, and then maybe it sparked your curiosity to maybe try that?
Yeah, because
Or-
I've really, really loved Adderall.
Right.
I really loved Adderall. But it stayed pretty recreational. And when I say recreational, I mean like once in a blue moon. Like some people go out and get like absolutely blasted at the bar, and I would go buy like a 30 bag of meth and smoke it in my bathroom. So
I think we all have our version of that. Like,
Yeah.
Our version of partying. Instead of going out to the bar, we do it a little more intimately.
yeah.
So along that path, like when you started it, like how did it progress? Like when did drugs, not maybe alcohol too, when did it start becoming a solution, and how did it progress to where it got like really bad and becoming a really bad problem for you in your life?
So my relationship with the father of my children was really, really toxic in the sense of like he didn't want to be like I can't think of a polite way to say this. He didn't want to be the man in the relationship.
Oh, okay.
He had a really, really bad Suboxone habit, and it kind of ruled everything that he did. So he went to work to pay for his drugs. Right?
Okay.
And then whatever would be left over is what I had to figure out how to make it work for me and my kids. And that can get really stressful. That can get really hard. And he was a serial cheater, and ended up losing his job over it. He was having an affair with his manager.
Oh my gosh.
I guess they got like into a fight or something. I don't know. Either way, he got fired over it.
So obviously that made things tough at home for you, and like
so
you had to find a way to support the family.
So he loses his job. I get some like crappy part-time job at this little pizza place, and I meet this guy. And mind you, I'm like in the middle of losing everything that I own. Like I'm losing my house. I'm losing my car. Like I don't know how to take care of I don't have the money to take care of my children. And I have no like fallback. I have no support,
Right.
So working this little $7.25 an hour part-time job at this pizza place, trying to just figure it out, trying to just make it work. And I meet this guy at work. And we start regularly doing meth, right? At this point, like I didn't have like a constant connect to get it. Like it just kind of popped up, So it turned into like me getting high every day at work with this dude. And then I believe the next step of this is that my lights get cut off.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I'm trying to figure out how to pay the light bill because I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
And the guy helps me get the light bill paid. Okay.
The guy from work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through some illegal activities. And he becomes like a staple pretty much in my life because the person that I'm supposedly in a relationship with is literally just like rotting away on my couch.
Wow. So he's still with you though at
Yeah.
home, like he's taking care of the kids while you're at work,
Yeah.
I guess supposedly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But doing absolutely like nothing else.
Right.
And at this point, like I'm a fucking wreck, man. Like my life is in shambles. I'm living with my mother who is in like full-blown active addiction, and I've got this dude that's wanting me to figure out how to buy him a Suboxone strip so that he's not sick. And I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to feed my kids something else besides macaroni tonight, and I'm like 24.
Oh my gosh, you're so young at this point.
Yeah, I'm like 24, man, and I'm exhausted. so my only escape from this like hellish reality that my life had turned into was substances.
Right.
And I knew, like, I knew enough about addiction, and I was educated enough to know that I was on a slippery slope, like
Right.
a really slippery slope, because I'm not processing my emotions. I'm not dealing with what's happening. I'm simply just getting high so I don't have to worry about it. And on top of it, like, I'm now committing crimes to pay my bills, you know. And at this point, that was like really still brand new to me. It was still really nerve-wracking. I was absolutely terrified. So of course I'm getting high.
Yeah.
But the alternative was what? You know, like I'm doing everything that I possibly can to take care of my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just not going to fail at that, you know. I mean, I did. I failed at it, you know.
And it feels like you're under a lot of pressure at this point. Like you're really stressed out. It feels like almost the walls are closing in on you.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, you know, you said you started doing some illegal activity to help pay for things, you know, obviously for your kids. Did you realize at this point along that, you know, you said you had experience with addiction or knew stuff about it. Did you feel like it was a problem in your life at this point? Like, was it becoming a problem for you at this point or not really?
It wasn't a problem yet, but I knew that it wasn't going to be very long before it was a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess you're starting to do the illegal activity. You know, you're living in Tennessee with your mom. This is all going on. How does it continue to progress after this?
So I'm still absolutely flat broke. Drew is not doing anything. And I have a 4-year-old. Well, she's about to turn 4, and an 18-month-old. And Drew knew the relationship that I had with this guy. I wasn't keeping it a secret. I had begged Drew to leave,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And he called DCS on me.
Oh my gosh.
He called DCS on me. So DCS shows up at my house.
And I guess because he's mad at you for not helping him support his habit while you're
Yeah,
supporting the kids and doing all that.
Drew has his own problems. He has his own sick individual self. And he never saw a fault in what he did, even after he told me that he was the one that did it. Even further down the progression of it, he was never the bad guy. And I'm okay with that. Like, I used to be really, really, like, just full of rage about that. But I'm okay with where it's at now, so I no longer blame him. I used to blame him for all types of different things. But I was also present in the situation. I just wish he hadn't called DCS on me. So DCS shows up at my door. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I open the door, and it's these 2 older women, and they tell me what they're there for. You know, and I knew I was in trouble.
And when they got the call, I guess what they do generally when they get a call, for people that don't know, is they come and check out your living situation, make sure the kids are having support, you know, the housing situation looks good. Is that what they were doing at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
So CPS comes in, and also for like anybody who's watching this, if you are dealing with CPS or the state or DFACS or whatever, figure out what your rights are, man. Figure out what your rights are, because those people are not your friends. And I don't care how they frame it to you, or they are not your friends. Know your rights. Know what's going on, man.
That's a good point.
They come in, and they let me know that they received a call pretty much that I don't have the financial means to take care of my children, that I am in active drug use, and that I'm neglecting my kids. So they're looking around. Mind you, I'm living in like a 2-bedroom like single wide trailer. I know that it's not the best, you know, and I'm telling them all of this because, mind you, I don't know my rights. I don't know that everything that I'm saying is going to be, I mean, it's pretty much like getting arrested.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
it's hard to prepare for something you don't know is about to happen. So.
So, you know, I'm trying to explain the situation. And mind you, when I let them in, Drew goes out the back door.
Oh.
That's a really important part of this story later on.
Okay.
So Drew goes out the back door. They're asking me where he is, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, he was just here, I guess, you know. He ran away. That's what he does. When things get hard, he disappears. I don't know where he went. They're waking my kids up. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. My kids are hungry, and they're saying that like they want breakfast, you know.
Yeah.
And they like sequester me to the living room while they act like my children are starving. I mean, I don't know a kid that doesn't wake up hungry for breakfast.
Yeah.
It's usually in that order. So they drug test me. I fail, you know, I light that thing up like a Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point they tell me that, you know, that they're going to remove my kids, you know. I'm still trying to cooperate. They're still asking me where Drew is. I have no idea where Drew is. They don't believe me. And just magically, all of a sudden, I have a warrant. Like, I haven't got arrested for anything. They're trying to tell me it's like some status hearing on some fines that I owe from years and years back. They give me 5 minutes to pack my kids up and to find them somewhere to go instead of going into foster care. Pippa is like freaking out. And I'm trying to explain to her, like, everything's okay, it's fine, you know, but she's freaking out. So I get my kids loaded up. I call Drew's mom. Drew's mom tells me that I made my bed and it's time for me to lie in it, and hangs up the phone on me.
Mm-hmm. And obviously your mom at this point is living with you, so you...
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what she's up to, so you don't really want to call her.
I called Drew's boss because he had helped me. Him and his wife had helped me, like, babysit the kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell him what's going on. And they get some family of theirs to come and pick up my kids for me. So I tell the DCS lady this, and I'm walking my kids out to this car, and I strap them into these car seats, and I'm loading up their stuff. And as soon as I shut that car door, I'm surrounded by 11 Washington County Sheriff's officers who put me in handcuffs. My kids are screaming in the backseat of this car, like, absolutely freaking out. Like, that was not necessary, absolutely at all. My oldest daughter is 11 years old, and she can still recount that day, like minute by minute, you know. And I go to jail. You know, the pizza place guy comes in, gets me out of jail. And when I get back, you know, it's several hours later, and Drew's sitting on the couch, and he has the audacity to look at me and be like, "Where are the kids?"
Oh my God.
And I just, oh man, I absolutely lose my shit. And that is probably like the beginning of my spiral. I do not improve from that day for the next 6 years.
Okay. And you were just like, I guess, at this point, you know, you're using every day. You just gotten out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess your main goal through this, or what you were thinking about, I'm sure, was to try to get your kids back.
Yeah.
Like, or did they come back right after that? And then...
So... This is like early 2017, and recovery really isn't like a thing yet.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're not even considering going down that road, right?
I mean,
this point?
In this little town that I lived in East Tennessee, like the closest rehab was in Nashville, which is clear across the state. There just wasn't a lot of like, you know. Addiction wasn't a disease. It was a character flaw. So when I'm sitting there and they're making this permanency plan or whatever it was called, you know, they're like, get a job, pass 3 drug screens, take some parenting classes, and get a place to live.
Those are the steps you need to take to
Yeah.
get your children back with you.
And it just seemed like the most insurmountable thing in the entire world, because the first thing that I had to do was pass these drug tests, right?
So you were considering stopping then? Like when you thought about,
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
point, like to pass the drug test and all of that?
it wasn't that I didn't want to stop. It was that I could not function within my reality. Like, it was so bad and it hurt so bad, and I had no idea how to fix it. And there was nobody, like, never once was I ever offered any sort of like treatment or help from DCS. And I had no idea what the fuck to do. And I'm 24 years old. I have no idea what to do. None. And it's a huge task to take on. I'm already fucked up. Like, my mental is completely shot. I'm in the most devastating pain that I've ever been in my life, because they've removed the only reasons that I would even try to get better. I used to say all the time, like, the same reasons I need to quit getting high are the reasons I'm getting high. And I just didn't know what to do. Any job that I could get was not going to make me enough money. I mean, Drew was completely uninterested in getting our children back. So I just didn't know what to do, honestly.
Right. So over the next 5 years, I guess that's the progression until you got into sobriety and found recovery. Like, why don't you give us the major points that kind of happened over the next 5 years? Like, just in general. Like, you were obviously, you probably switched around jobs. You were still, I'm guessing, actively in addiction, using, supporting your habit.
I go to jail. For 14 months in Hamlin County, Tennessee. And I get out and I'm clean. And I'm going to try to get my life together. I get some little job at Taco Bell, and I'm living with some friends who were, they just weren't using hard drugs anymore. I go to take a drug screen. Mind you, I'm just a dry drunk at this point, okay?
Yeah.
I have no program.
You stopped in jail, I guess,
right,
like a lot of people.
I have no program. I've done no healing. I'm completely, I'm just stuffed full of trauma, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to hold it together. I'm taking these parenting classes, and I'm working this little crappy job, and I'm trying to get some housing. And I go to take a drug screen, and Jenny, my caseworker, she's like, I'm really glad that you're doing better. But I just want you to know, it's a little too late. It's a little too late. And it's like all the oxygen got sucked out of the room a little bit for me, and she tells me that they're going to move forward with termination of my rights so that my children can be adopted.
Oh my gosh.
And I would like to say that I kept my shit together, it just made me double down. But at this point, we're almost 2 years in, and I hate myself. I hate myself. I hate my life. I hate everybody around me. If I could, I'd just burn the motherfucker down. So I call a friend who, pizza shop guy. Call pizza shop guy, and I ask him to take me to the dope man's house, right? Because I'm done.
So that was you had given
that was
up
my
when
solution.
She said, okay,
yeah, that was my solution. I still didn't have any other skills. That was still my solution. So I I go to the dope man's house, and pizza shop guy is still like trying to be in a relationship with me and stuff. But he really gets on my nerves at this point. So we're like having almost like an open argument in the basement of this guy's house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I meet Tony. You know, and he's asking dude, like, why is he tripping out in the basement of this guy's house? And, you know, he tries to launch into this story about, you know, how dirty I am and how mischievous and conniving I can be and all this other stuff. And, you know, Tony's like, whatever, bro, get my bag of dope. I'm doing the dope there. And one of my friends is like on heroin, passed out on the floor. I don't know Tony. I don't want to leave Tony with my inebriated friend who's passed out on the floor. That was like her thing at the time. She would do heroin wherever she was and immediately like just pass out.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, real quick, Tony is Taylor's husband now.
Yeah.
So this was the first time she met her now husband.
Yeah.
In the dope man's house.
Yeah. Which is really ironic, you know.
Yeah.
So I leave. I'm really, like, I'm in such a bad place and I'm hurting so bad. Like, I really just did not give two craps about Tony.
Right.
I'm actually talking to Drew, trying to convince Drew, because oddly enough, because the universe is hilarious, DCS loved Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Just loved him. Just thought that he was just the bee's knees. So I'm trying to convince him to get custody of my children. Like, please get custody of my children. I will raise them. I will do all the heavy lifting. Just please go get my kids.
Yeah.
He had completed his permanency plan, was actually lying to DCS about having a place to live, which was the last thing that they needed to give him custody of my children back. We got into an argument or something. I can't really remember. And Tony had been, like, on my Facebook, like, liking stuff and, like, little comments and stuff, you know. So I messaged him to hang out. We hang out that night, do, like, copious amounts of dope. And then, I'm pretty much with Tony every day, you know. Somewhere in the middle of this, Drew tells me that it's selfish of me to want my kids back. That they have a good life where they're at. I'm never gonna get my shit together. And it's really selfish of me, and that I just needed to sign my rights over, let them adopt my kids, and pretty much move on with my life. Which, for the record, that is exactly what he did. And I'm really happy that he was able to do that. Good for him. So I signed my rights over. And the court date's set for me to sign my rights over. And I go to jail, I think, for, like, driving on suspended and, like, some paraphernalia. I don't know. Either way, I show up to this this court date to sign the rights over to my kids in shackles and oranges, right?
Wow.
So sign over the rights to my kids, and I probably wasn't okay again. This is like 2019, either early 2019 or late 2018. I am not, like, fully mentally there until the end of 2021.
Yeah.
So what happens in between there is I convinced Tony to give me my first intravenous shot, right? Tony's staunchly against it. He's like, no, man, the needle only does two things, right? If you're smart, it's going to make you dumb, and if you're pretty, it's going to make you ugly. He said, and you are beautiful and very intelligent, and I won't be responsible for that. And I would like, you know, if I could go back, I would accept that for what it was. But instead, I'm full of venom. I'm the most angry, hurt person And I look him in his face and dead serious. And I'm like, if you do not do it, I will go find somebody that will.
Wow.
And for anybody who's been in the drug scene, a relatively fresh, pretty girl can get just about any dangerous thing she wants because people are terrible, you know? And that's what Tony was scared of.
Yeah.
So he does it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first time he does it, it's water. There's nothing in it, right?
Okay.
Because his thought process is, if I don't get anything out of it,
You
then
won't do it
maybe I'll
again.
just let it go.
Okay. Wow. I've never heard of that before. That's a good thought process.
Yeah. I mean, I give him props for trying,
Yeah.
but I was smart, and
Mhm.
also like at this point, I've been around people who are injecting methamphetamine, so like I don't know exactly what's up, but I know that you didn't do fucking something
Yeah.
right, you know. And then talk him into doing it again, and I was pretty much just off to the races because I had been, you know, most people use substances to numb whatever it is that they don't want to process or go through or handle or whatever. And the normal way that I had been doing my drugs was not doing that. And I was desperate for any sort of relief, you know. I felt like I was in the middle of the ocean and nobody was coming to save me. And I saw no end to this just absolute grief that I was going through. And I'm incredibly grateful, and I know that this is going to sound absolutely insane. I'm incredibly grateful for my IV use because I probably would have killed myself had I not figured out a way to numb that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do. That's what I do for the next like 2.5 years.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm like full blown junkie.
Yeah, this is I guess your roughest part of the end
I'm-
right here.
Yeah, I'm full blown junkie. I'm stealing cars. We moved to Florida, and I just progressively get worse.
And Tony moves with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Tony goes to jail a couple of times, and I'm just a fucking monster. I mean, I am a monster. Because it's hard for me to care about anything or anyone else when I don't even care about myself. I'm 100% either trying to kill myself or get somebody else to do it for me.
Yeah.
So I'm stealing cars. I'm robbing very dangerous people. I'm doing copious amounts of dope. My daily habit was more than I could ever afford cash-wise.
Yeah.
Like a year and a half into my IV use, I burnt up like most of my veins. And I'm just really like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die doing this. And the quicker I can get it done, the better off I'm going to be.
And so where was, like, obviously we're in a super active addiction right here. Where was this turning point where something, you know, major happened and, you know, it caused you to reach out and find a solution?
So me and Tony get arrested in Mobile, Alabama.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, not Mobile, Alabama. We get arrested here in Gwinnett County.
Okay. In Georgia, by the way.
Yeah. I have 3 felony warrants in Alabama. I have a felony warrant in Alabama, and I picked up 2 felony charges when I got pulled over here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to jail. Like, I'm going to jail.
Right.
And Gwinnett County charges Tony with, like, I think, like, a felony possession charge or something.
Mm-hmm.
So Tony does, like, 3.5, 4 months. And he gets out, and he goes to, I think it's called Anchor Hospital,
Mm-hmm.
claims to be suicidal, and gets them to take him in. And then he gets his sponsor, his old sponsor, who's a really good buddy of his. They grew up together since they were kids, from Tennessee to come down and pick him up.
Okay.
I'm still in jail. I don't even know if I know yet that Tony's out of jail. I think so. I think I do. Yeah, because I talked to him while he was in Tennessee. And pretty much, you know, like, Tony keeps it real, like gentle with me, probably because he knew that, like, if he forced it down my throat as soon as we started, like, talking again, that I would run the fuck away.
Yeah.
You know, I've lived this way for so long at this point. And I've been in and out of my kids' lives. You know, there's all kinds of other past trauma that I'm not, you know, that I'm not processing, I'm not dealing with.
Yeah.
I've just kind of, like, put on this really hard exterior shell, you know. So
And
Tony
benumbing
knew,
yourself.
if he offered any sort of, like, let's fix you.
Yeah, like push you in any direction.
Yeah, that I was going to cuss his brains out and hang up the phone. So Tony's just, like, walking me through his process, like, on the jail call, you know. He's in Tennessee at some sober living house, getting his ID. He's trying to find, he's trying to get the GRIP program here in Gwinnett County.
Yeah.
To pay for his time at Step by Step. And he, you know, like, this is what he's going to do, you know. And I'm like, that's awesome. I don't believe him.
Right.
I don't believe him, you know.
Because you guys have been in and out of the rooms at this point, and in recovery
you know,
a little
like,
bit.
I've never been in and out of the rooms, but I know that Tony has been.
Right.
You know, and I mean, Tony used to tell me, you know, because when you're in active addiction, you kind of have, like, these moments of clarity, you know. And Tony had been big booking me our entire relationship. I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
You know. So he's telling me, like, this is what I'm, you know, this is what I'm gonna do. You know, I go from jail, I go from Gwinnett County to Florida, from Florida to Alabama, and Alabama is my last stop before I get out. And this is when Tony starts talking about, like, well, what are you planning on doing?
Yeah.
You know, Tony's taking care of me this whole time. You know, like, he's done the lawyers, he's done the commissary, he's done the phone. Like, if you've ever held somebody down in jail, he's done the things. You know, he's like, you know, I'll help you do whatever. You know, like, I'll help you get back on your feet. But you got to go to treatment.
Yeah.
You got to be clean. You know, Tony told me when we were talking about it, he was like, I love you more than anything else on the face of this planet. And it's not fair of you to ask me to watch you kill yourself. So, you know, if you want to be with me, this is what you're going to have to do, or I'm going to love you from way over there. And I'm honestly, like, I got my first year of sobriety before I actually wanted to be clean. I was kind of just waiting for Tony to relapse, honest to God.
Wow.
I get out, I go to in-person treatment. You know, I do some process work. I do some trauma-informed counseling with a clinician there. I deal with a little bit of shit, but mostly, like, I just learn how to be a person again, you know. And then from there, I go to Step by Step. Huge shout out to Step by Step, because I would not be nearly as successful as I am today without Step by Step.
Yeah, they did a lot for you. And at this point, you and Tony were both in Step by Step together. Like,
no,
he
Tony
came
had
in,
went to Tony had went to Oxford House.
Okay.
He was working for our really good friend Troy Sims, and it just made more sense at the time for him to live in Oxford House. So he had moved to the Buttercup Men's House here in Georgia. And Cindy won't let me talk to my kids at this point.
Right.
She says, you know, that I do this. And she's right. You know, I go in and out of their lives. It was really unhealthy. My kids were getting older. And Blair at Step by Step is actually the one who reached out to Cindy and got me, you know, talking to my kids again.
Yeah.
So I put together some time, you know. I helped open the first women's Oxford House in Lawrenceville, Georgia. My sponsor at the time, Melissa, God made it possible for me to see my kids for the first time in 5.5 years. I start college. I just start putting my life back together. And I'm grateful every day. Like I said, I'm grateful. I don't hold any ill will towards my experience because it's kind of made me who I am. And, shit happens.
What do you think the biggest challenges were? Because, at this point, you're putting together a bunch of time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you just started the women's chapter of the Oxford House, which is really cool. And you're working on, you're talking to your kids, you're working on getting them back. What were some of the biggest challenges there, in early recovery?
The biggest challenges of early recovery, I gotta say though, man, my early recovery was really sweet. I don't know if it's because I had been in jail for so long before that, or really what it was, or just my gift of desperation was so deep that I was willing to do whatever. But really, it was just like allowing things to happen when they're supposed to happen. But early recovery was really great for me. And I mean, maybe it was just the chaos that I lived in for so long. I don't know. But I didn't struggle with adapting to like the accountability and the structure. And like, I was really grateful for all those things.
Yeah. It sounds like you were making, your recovery really important to you at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like Tony was like crucial in your recovery. Like he kind of pushed you in that direction. Were there any other like, tools or support systems you used getting into recovery and like while you were in recovery?
I was surrounded by some really great women. There was a women's meeting that I went to on Tuesday nights. And they were really great. I had a really amazing sponsor, Melissa, who just supported everything that I did and pushed me. And still to this day, she still pushes me and calls me and supports me and loves on me, And then I had all the guys at the Buttercup Oxford House, they were really great. And Troy was huge in my recovery. He made so many things possible for me that otherwise wouldn't have been. He's probably like the closest thing that I've got to family. I really didn't have any problems until after my first year, like when I was like living in Oxford House, and I'd put together some time, and it was really just like the crushing weight of my own expectations. Like I always felt, and I still feel right now, that I'm behind. I'm really, really behind. Even when I hear other people tell me like how great I'm doing and all the things that I'm doing are so amazing and that I just don't ever feel that way.
I think a lot of us do.
Yeah,
honestly, I definitely do.
It's a common struggle. I mean, I get triggered every once in a while. Mostly by like just the most random things in the world. Like it's really strange. But it's really just like being okay with where I'm at. Because sometimes I forget, like I'm so busy constantly chasing like this success, or I'm being ran by my ambition so often that sometimes I forget that I'm literally living a life that I used to pray about in a county jail bunk. And when I stop and slow down and think about that, like it kind of helps me get a better perspective.
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds like, you're doing super well now compared to where you were, and you kind of told us what it was like. So why don't you tell a little bit about like where you are today? I know you told us who you are, what you do here at Most High, but like where are you now in life?
So I got married. Me and Tony got married at the end of May.
Congratulations
24th.
again. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. It was kind of a surreal experience for both of us, I think, because I think sometimes like in our minds, we're still like homeless needle junkies.
Yeah, because you know each other from before. Yeah. So
it's really like just wild to be in that, like, just that space for that instance, I'm halfway through my bachelor's program at
Amazing.
Purdue Global. I'm getting a bachelor's in psychology with a concentration in addiction. I'll be moving on to get my master's at the beginning of 2028 so that I can be an LPC. Shout out to David Cleope for talking me into doing that, you know, because I wanted to just be an addiction counselor. And
Right, and that's what got you into CARES, right? Like at the beginning, you
Yeah,
first got into CARES,
yeah.
and then right after that, you decided you wanted to get your bachelor's and pursue school.
I was already pursuing school.
Okay.
No shade, but I didn't want to be a CPS. I'm really just into the clinical side of things. But I wanted to work in the recovery field, so I let somebody talk me into going and getting my CPS, which is where I met Chad, and how I became part of the Most High Media family. I have the coolest job ever.
We really do. We just got back from Montana 10, 14 days ago.
Yeah.
So
I do have the coolest job ever. And Christian gets on my nerves, but it's only because he's constantly pushing me to be the best version of myself,
yeah.
which we all kind of need that sometimes, I think. I'm an active part of my kids' lives. I'm about to drop a ridiculous amount of money on school supplies because I don't understand why notebooks are $5 a piece now. And I'm active in my community. I don't sponsor people because that really freaks me out, but you can call me and we'll figure it out, whatever's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we want people to be able to reach out to Taylor because she is
Yes.
CARES certified.
I am CARE certified. You can reach out to me. I don't, hang on. I got to pull up the number because I don't know it by heart yet.
Oh, you're totally good. Yeah, for anyone who's watching or who knows someone that may need some help in dealing with addiction or dealing with the struggles, they can reach out to Taylor.
Yeah, you can call or text anytime, any day. I literally have no social life outside of going to meetings and Most High Media. So 470-273-3578.
You can call or text that number.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the least judgmental person in the entire earth. You got a very PG version of my story, but I promise that there isn't anything that you can call or text on this phone and me be blown away. You're not gonna have me flabbergasted, I promise.
Yeah, she's definitely super helpful. She's helped me personally, and she helped me get through it when I was stressing out about a situation.
Yeah,
So we appreciate it.
Yeah, always. That's literally. I just know that if I'd have had even an inch of the person that I am today, if I'd have had that sort of outlet, that my story probably would have been really different. So I try to be that, try to fill that gap, because sometimes people don't have any support. They don't have a network or a safety net, and they have no idea what they're doing. And before you dig that hole, man, because it will turn into a hole that's really hard to get out of, you should reach out. And it's free. It's free to call me. And we'll figure it out regardless of what it is.
Yeah, so please, guys, if anyone's listening and going through it mentally, emotionally, dealing with addiction, please just reach out to Taylor.
Yeah, man.
So, and yeah. That was. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Taylor.
Yeah, no
we really
problem.
appreciate it and talking everyone through it and telling us what you do here. It was really cool that you were able to do this, and we were able to talk to Taylor today. And we just wanted to thank all of our supporters and donors here at Most High. Thank you for joining us today. We want to thank Jason and Katie, who are on the ones and twos today. Yeah. Who are taking care of the podcast while me and Taylor are on here telling her story. So thank you for joining us today, guys. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is my only time doing this. So bye.
All right. Thank you, Taylor. That was
No
awesome.
problem. You did great, Caleb. Good job.
Thanks, you too.